working on building one of the most valuable assets in your business this month. We've been going through it week by week, and it's your email list. And it's the best way to reach your customers. And it's one of the few ways that you have complete control over, because social media is great, but you don't own your reach there. At any moment, the platform could change, it could lock you out, it could disappear, and then you've lost your entire audience in a blink and you have no way to contact them. So it's really critical that you convert as much of your social media following to a list that you actually do own and control. And most people do that with an email list. So the most common way to grow your email list is with a lead magnet of some kind. And a lead magnet is just something of value that you offer to your followers, your customers, your prospects, whoever, in exchange for their email address. So one of the easiest ways and one of the most common ways to do that is with like a free download, with a free PDF download. But you can also do a free event. You could do access to a group. You could do a training video, anything that gives enough value to your audience that they're willing to exchange their email address with you in order to get access to it and become part of your community and be part of your list. So you can get really fancy and complicated, but the basics you need to convert those followers to emails is just the high value offering, which we call the lead magnet. And it needs to be delivered digitally, really, to make it simple. I mean, I guess there's other ways you could do it, but it gets expensive fast if you can't deliver it digitally. And then a landing page for them to go to so that they can learn more about it and sign up for it. And then you need the automated emails that go out afterwards to send out that lead magnet to the person that signed up for it, or to send them further information or whatever it is. So that's it. It's a weekend project. You can totally do this all on your own. And we talked about the lead magnet itself and the landing page itself in the first two sessions. This is part 3 of the series. So we're going to talk about the actual emails that go out and the welcome sequence. So with your welcome emails, there's 3 things that you're trying to accomplish with your welcome emails. So number 1, you're trying to educate them. So you're giving them how-tos, tips, strategies, things to give them simple wins and answer their questions. Okay, so number 1, you want to educate. Number 2, you want to build that relationship. And that's pretty straightforward. You want them to become part of your community. You want them to trust you and know you and like you and all of those things. So you want to build that relationship with them. And number 3, you want to position yourself as an authority. You want to position yourself as the right person to help them and get them wanting more from you, right? You want them to get interested in what you're doing and excited about what's coming up. So if you're using a lead magnet in a landing page, then usually the first email in your welcome sequence is going to be sent out to them as soon as they sign up. And that's the email that's actually going to deliver that lead magnet to them. Whatever it is that they signed up for, that first email is going to deliver that to them. So for example, if you're new to this, let me walk you through this. They're going to visit your website. Let's say this is just one way to do it. There's a million ways to do it, but this is one way just to illustrate it for you. They will visit your website. Let's say they see a pop-up. You have a pop-up on your website and it says they can sign up for a free checklist. So they enter their information. When they do that, it adds them to your email list with your email provider, whoever that is, and you would have this all set up to run automatically. So when they get added to the list, it would trigger this first email to go out to them. And this first email would have the link to the download or the video training or whatever lead magnet you use to get them to join your list, right? And then after that first email, the lead magnet delivery email, there should be a welcome email and kind of a welcome sequence. And it can be anywhere from, 3 emails to 6 or 8 emails, depending on your niche and depending on, how far along you are in your business and all of those things. But there needs to be a welcome email where you thank them for joining and you let them get to know you a bit better. So after those 2 emails, you're going to have, number 1, you're going to deliver the thing, whatever the thing is for them. Number 2, you want to have a welcome email where you thank them, let them know a bit more about you and your community and kind of what to expect. And then after that, it really depends on what your business is, what your niche is, who your people are, as far as what your other emails will contain. But to give you some ideas, you could have an FAQ email. You could have a short, very actionable training. You could have links to other resources. For example, I think one of our emails, we give you links to the podcast and the magazine and the community and all the other things so that you can get connected with all of the things that we offer at She Corporated. You could do case studies where you show them the transformation that's available by purchasing your product or your services. So there's a lot of different things you could put in those emails. Everybody's sequence of emails is going to look a little bit different, but here's the key, and this is how you design it. Every email that you send out is moving them closer to the sale for you. So if it's an FAQ email and you're doing the frequently asked questions, then you're answering their objections with it. So those frequently asked questions that you put in that email, you want those to be things that would be stopping them from moving forward with you, right? Like, oh, it's too expensive, or it's going to take me too long, or whatever that might be, right? So you're using that email to move them closer to the sale. If it's an email about a personal story, you're using that to connect with your audience and to build your authority. So there's a purpose for each one of these emails. If you're sending a training, first of all, make it short and actionable, right? You don't want to give them something that's going to take them weeks to work their way through, but also make sure that the training that you send them is specifically one that is helping them prepare for the thing that you will eventually offer them. So if you're going to eventually offer them guitar lessons or specific guitar lessons, make sure that the training that you send them is something small and actionable that moves them closer to being the ideal person to purchase your offer. Does that make sense? Let me know if that doesn't make sense. But that's the strategy behind it. You want to select those trainings, that information, to move them from point A, where they are, to point B, where you want them to be when you make your offer, so that they're ready for it. And then you're going to end that series. So however you fill out those middle emails, it depends again on your niche, but everyone should be ending their welcome series with a hint at the offer that you have to come to get them excited and wanting more from you. So you don't want to give it, you don't want to give it all away. And if you don't have your exact offer set up, that's okay. You just kind of want to give them a reason to be excited to see more emails from you in the future, right? So what should your emails say? Keep it short, first of all. Short is good. A lot of people just skim. So it's a great idea that if it's a longer email, you want to have some subheadings that will, if somebody only reads those subheadings through your email, that they will still get the general idea of what you're trying to say. I am a skimmer. So I can tell you, I open up an email and there's, 3 pages of email. I will just read the headlines to see if it's something that I'm interested in. So the longer the email, the more important having those subheads or those highlighted bits of text throughout the email are to keep them interested and to make sure that they're getting the information that you're trying to give them. So what should it say? You have 3 elements in your email. Number 1 is the subject line, and it's arguably the most important part of your email, even though it's only a few words, because if the subject line doesn't grab them, they won't open the email and they will get nothing else that you put in there. So you really need to spend time on your subject line. I would say you spend as much time on your subject line as you do on the email itself, possibly more. You want to make sure that it is catchy, that it is intriguing, whatever it is that you need for your particular audience that will get them to open it. And it's a great idea to split test. So when you write your email, do it with a couple different subject lines that you think are good and split test it. And you can do that quite easily in most email providers. And it will tell you what the results are. And you can test your headlines and see really what's effective, because until you start testing it, of course, as with all things in marketing, if you're not testing, you're guessing, right? So you have to guess to start with to get yourself started. But eventually you want to definitely be testing it. All right, so subject line needs to grab them. Then you've got the body of the email. Again, keep it short and to the point, no longer than it needs to be. And if it is a longer email, make sure you're using those subheadings. And then the third element of the email is the PS, at the end there, the PS. And that's one last chance to give them some kind of call to action. And most people read it. It's actually a very powerful part of your email. So use that as much as you can. So best practices for you as far as the emails. The subject line has to get them to open it. Otherwise, they don't get anything. So really spend some time on the subject line and make sure that it's compelling and it's going to get them to look at the rest of the email. Number two, keep it simple. Keep it simple, keep it direct, keep it to the point. Shorter is almost always better with emails. And number three of the best practices on this is to keep it timeless, because this is something that you can set and forget. You can do this email sequence once, you can set it up, you can automate it, and it will just keep going in the background for as long as you leave it going, and you don't even have to think about it again. So you want to make sure to make it low maintenance. So it doesn't have dates and times in it, doesn't have upcoming events, it doesn't have seasonal kind of dated information so that you have to keep going in and updating it. And then invariably you forget to go update it and you're sending out emails about winter and the spring and all of these things, right? So you want it to be evergreen information that's timeless, and it's going to be accurate now. It's going to be accurate in 6 months. If you want to send seasonal newsletters and all those things, those are great. You do those as one-off campaigns. You do them at the time. But for your welcome emails, you want to keep it timeless. Keep it evergreen so it's always relevant and you don't have to update it quite so often. So this week, I'm going to give you some action items. We're going to get you moving on this if you're not already. This week, I want you to get your welcome sequence set up, and to not overwhelm yourself, make it 2 or 3 emails. Start there, and then you can build out on it as you go, but it's a great place to start. So figure out, if you don't have an email platform where you can automate these things, find one, figure out what you want to use, whether it's from some sites like Kajabi, for example, has its own email program. But there's MailChimp, there's Constant Contact, there's HubSpot. We use Klaviyo. It has really great capabilities to do really complicated flows and automations. So whatever that looks like for you, if you haven't got an email program set up yet, do that. And then set up your welcome emails, 2 or 3 emails, just like we talked about, and get it started.